Welcome to another edition of The Barking Dead.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of EPL on
The class is in session, hitting the books on Pub Sports.
This is another exciting edition of the main event on Talking Ant.
Welcome to the College Football Pub Hub Show, Saturday, November 19th, Pub Sports Radio. Reunited, and it feels so good. Here we are. We're back. The band is back. It's Ian. It's Connor. It's Boss. It's Big Ragoo. We're all here. We're all back.
Oh, yeah.
We're together again. And we're here to break down a Saturday college football slate. There's only 2 full regular season college football slates left, if you can believe it. So it's been another season where it's just, here and gone before you know it. But a big Saturday on tap. We will get it started with, note the start time of this game here coming up. 11 a.m. Eastern time starts next hour. Navy, Central Florida. In the Bounce House in Orlando. UCF 15.5 point home favorites, 53 the total in this one. UCF off the huge victory last week against Tulane, which gave them, a very good chance now to be in the AAC championship game. They control their own destiny now with that. But that was a huge win for them, and now they return home laying a big number against a Navy team that all we've seen them do the last few weeks is compete and hang in games. In fact, you can trace this all the way back to their last 8 games. They beat ECU, lost by 3 to Air Force, crushed Tulsa, lost by 6 at SMU. They beat Temple in overtime, lost by 10 at Cincinnati, lost by 3 to Notre Dame last week. They never quit in that game. They didn't start well against Notre Dame, but they kept on battling and battling back. I think it's too many points in the spot, especially with UCF off the big win. It's not about winning by margin. It's just win. That's all UCF has to do. They don't have to necessarily win this game by a big margin. So I think Navy, the way they've been competing lately, they're worth a look here, catching all these points. I am concerned that the UCF run defense is pretty good, but we know that triple option is very unique and sometimes can even trouble the better defenses at stopping the run. So I like Navy here, plus the points. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Navy, UCF, early start.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I just am not like crazy about this. I like it, a little bit, maybe a smaller look because, UCF has beat down some teams at home and Navy hasn't covered a few, but they've been good lately. Like last week, it's not, when you got to run like that, when you're behind, it's always, it's not always good with a team like that. So I'm worried that could happen, but yeah, I think it's just a bit too many. I mean, I might have a small look on it, but yeah, Navy or nothing for me.
Yeah, it does feel like a few too many points. Yeah, they used 2 quarterbacks because Ty Lavatai is out, so they used Masai Maynor, and Xavier Arline last week in the game against Notre Dame. But again, they're a run-heavy team, so it doesn't disrupt their offense, the quarterback spot, nearly as much as it would other teams. What do you think here, Doc?
I think we're going to see a decent football game to start out with, number one. But UCF has their own option, a single-man option. His name's John Rice Plumlee. That's the kid you got to watch. I mean, as they go through him, they go. And you did mention the defense is pretty good. But let's not forget, Navy beat this team last year as a big underdog. So, there's a little revenge on UCF's mind. And like you said, they are in control of the conference now with beating Cincinnati and Tulane. So all they got to do is win this game, get on the war to I-4 next week, USF, and then we'll see a rematch with one of these teams possibly because I believe Tulane and Cincinnati play next week. So I would look at a small look, possibly first half on UCF here.
All right, maybe a UCF first half look for a Big Ragoo. All right, the returning DJ Big Boss. What do you think here?
Man, some of these conferences is ridiculous how it's so serious how it lines up. Like we just said with Cincinnati, Tulane. Like, did they schedule this out this way or something? Jeez. But it's going to make some wonderful football. But in this one right here, I lean with the total on this one, and I like to take the total over. Navy seems to get away and play some games and do some things that we unexpect them to do at times. So I think Navy probably, gets in the end zone a couple times, and UCF, they're definitely going to get in the end zone with Plumlee. I don't see Navy's defense being a real stopper to their offense. Their offense pretty heavy. So that number's kind of low too. So I think I like that one over.
All right, good stuff. We move on now to the noon Eastern kickoff, starting with UL. Well, they want to call themselves the Lafayette Ragin' Cajuns, apparently. But anyway, it's the Ragin' Cajuns against Florida State. Florida State, 24-point home favorites, 52 the total in this one. Honestly, I had someone come after me saying, we don't want to be called UL Lafayette anymore. I'm like, okay, I've only been saying that for 30 years, but whatever. The Raging Cajuns of Lafayette, they're getting a big number here. This is tricky. There's no way I'm betting against Florida State right now. They are on fire at this point in time, but this does feel like a whopper of a flat spot. All right, you've had some big games inside the conference. You've got the rivalry game with the Florida Gators coming up next week. Are you ready to just go out there and win by 4 touchdowns? You could if you bring your A game, because if you score 28-35, Cajuns probably aren't scoring enough to cover. It's not a great offensive team this year. They've gotten a little bit better lately, but it's still not a great offense to be able to come from behind. I passed on this game. I'm just not willing to step in front of Florida State, although this is a dubious spot for the big home favorite. Big Ragoo, you're the Florida State guy, so we'll give you the chance to start with this one. What do you think?
Yeah, the key word you said right there was spot. So basically, I mean, what's so exciting about Florida State and what they're doing right now, and you've seen it in the end result, with their defense, and the offense. The offensive line has improved tremendously. The defense is playing lights out right now. And, and Louisiana, they'll probably be a little low here, but what does Florida have on deck for Florida next week? Florida State have on deck. So I think they're going to go. I'm not saying just go through the motions here, but they want to play competitive football without a doubt, but whether they get there by margin is another story. So I missed my opportunities with Florida State. I had a few that I kind of passed upon, and I'm a believer in this team now, man, because they are playing solid trench football. But to get to that number, you're talking about, 5 scores possibly, to kind of put it over. Four touchdowns anyway, but a little rich for my blood, but they could do it. I mean, they might the way their defense is playing, hell, they might not even get 10 points in this game, Louisiana, and Florida State, they can win probably 30, 34 to they won't even cover there. 34-10 doesn't even get you the money. So you're going to need some points here. So you're going to need 5 touchdowns basically out of Florida State and 2 scores from Louisiana. So and a lot of wind coming out of my mouth for a pass.
I know that's an Ian Cameron special right there. A lot of words, a lot of words, boppity bop.
I mean, maybe look to possibly maybe a first half under in this spot here. Maybe they start out a little slow and they build momentum late, and then they just kind of even things out for them. But yeah, I look towards the first half under in this spot.
Well, give me the backdoor cover in this one. You got the Raging Cajuns, who first year coach there, the Sormax. They're probably not going to quit. Any win, right? I just picked up because your mic wasn't on, but any win right here for the Sormax and his team over here is great. I mean, it's great. It builds into the future. So we're looking long term in this one right here. I think they come out and try to leave it all out on the field, and I think that number's just way too long to count them out like that. So give me the Raging Cajuns plus the points.
I remember a Cajuns team that was, for years was very good as a non-conference underdog. And when they stepped up in class, they did pretty well. I remember they beat Iowa State. I remember on the first game of the season a few years ago. So you're right. Their defense is not bad at all, the Cajuns. It's just, can they score enough? What do you think here, Connor?
That's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. This team's got a solid defense that just can they put up some points on the board. I think they can. Florida State's red hot. I don't like going against them, but I think they can get a couple touchdowns. And I think this number's just too rich. I think this maybe was 18, 19, but 24, give me the points. Like Boss said, I think the back door could be open here.
All right, Duke and Pitt in the ACC. Pitt 7-point home favorites, total down from 54.5 to 49. Lots of weather conditions, snow, wind in the forecast for many games, so make sure you're keeping an eye on the forecast for some of these games. Pitt is off back-to-back blowout wins, double-digit wins, so it makes you think, maybe we lay 7 here. But Syracuse, they beat them, and Syracuse is just a mess right now offensively. They've not been the same team the last few weeks, really since they lost to Clemson, and they've missed Schrader for a period of time there as well. Actually, he didn't play in that game at all. And then the Virginia game, 37-7. And the quarterback for Virginia, Brennan Armstrong, throws 2 pick sixes the first 2 throws of the game. It's pretty difficult to win, and it put Virginia behind the 8 ball right away and down 37-7, and Pitt just romped to victory from that point. We got Duke. They've won 3 in a row. Defense still a little suspect until you played the pathetic Grant Wells last week, 24-7. They shut down Virginia Tech and that pretty putrid offense. But Riley Leonard and the quarterback and the offense for Duke have been pretty good all year. They're now back in the dog role where we prefer them. I mean, in the Boston College game, they were big favorites. They didn't cover, but 10-point dogs. Miami win outright. 7-point dogs. North Carolina lose by 3. Kansas was the one underdog spot. They did not get them the money, and they only lost by 8. 10-point underdogs. They won outright at Northwestern. They've been terrific in this role, and I don't trust Keaton Slovis and the Pitt offense enough, especially with their O-line issues. So I like Duke here, getting 7 or more. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I know the weather, isn't great here, but I think this game's close. I think it's back and forth. Duke might not have the best defense, but they're good at times. And I think they have the better quarterback and Leonard, like you talked about. So I have 7 in the hook. I took money line as well. I think they cover and maybe went outright.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, if you go back and look at the history with these two, I mean, Pitt's playing solid, Duke's. I like them in a dog roll like you, Ian, and their defense a little suspect. I like the way Pitt's doing some things right now, and I think and if you go back and look at the scores of these games, they've been like in the 50s, the high 30s, and you're hanging a 28.5, maybe because of the weather or whatnot on Pitt. I like the team total over Pitt, 28.5.
All right, liking the team total over for the Pitt Panthers here in this one is Big Ragoo. All right, boss.
Both of these teams have been disappointing this year. I expected a little better out of Duke defensively, and I expected a little better out of Pittsburgh offensively with Slovis back there. Despite Pitt performance in the last few weeks, it's still not enough for me to be very interested in this game right here. This game could pretty much go either way right here. So I'm going to leave this one alone, and I would be really mad and disappointed if I back Pitt and they fail me again, and I'd be really mad and disappointed if I decided to think Duke was going to come in and play some defense and slow them down, and then they didn't do it either. So complete pass.
All right, complete pass here. Indiana, Michigan State, little chance of snow, some moderate winds in the forecast. This one, Michigan State, 10.5-point home favorites, 47 the total. I'm still going to take a shot with the over. In spite, the winds are moderate, but they're not like heavy, huge gusts. So I'm going to take a shot that this total's too low. I think for an Indiana game, the total's just way too low here in this game. And I get weather is impacting it a little bit, but when I look at Michigan State, their offense is capable of scoring at least into the 20s. They do that most weeks. Other than playing Michigan, they've scored 34 against Wisconsin, 23 against a pretty good Illinois defense, and 27 against Rutgers. They've trended over 3 of the last 5. Indiana's an over machine because they can't stop anybody. 31, 38, 45, 56 allowed in 4 of their last 5 games. I don't know. This total seems very low to me. I think it's being downgraded. It's being lowered this total too much because of the concerns of maybe a little wind and a little snow. I like over the total here, Indiana, Michigan State. By the way, Michigan State, 5 wins entering this game, so playing for bowl eligibility. They will become eligible for a bowl game, the Spartans, if they win this game. That being said, I cashed a ticket against Michigan State as double-digit favorites with Rutgers last week. I'm not in a rush to lay this many points with Michigan State. I think I'd take Indiana before Michigan State, but you are talking about a pretty bad Indiana defense now. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I can't take Indiana. So Michigan State wins here. They go bowling. I just don't want to lay the 10.5. But if I had a free bet, I think they cover here.
All right, lean to the favorite, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I pass on this one totally. Even though Michigan State had some decent traction, other than Ohio State and Michigan, start out the season as a shit show, have kind of leveled off a little bit. So they're doing a lot better. Indiana, I don't want no part of them either. So I show small value in the number, believe it or not, with Michigan State, but I'm going to pass.
All right, boss.
You're going to see me do this with a few teams on this card today, and that's going to be, boom, check them off. Check Indiana off. They're checked out. 3 wins so far on the road right now. I mean, what is a young player to do? Give him his headphones, his social media. He's into that because he's not going to be into this game. And then we got this Michigan State team who owes me money. They owe me money because I believe in this Michigan State team. I think a good fight brings the defense together, brings the team together. And here we are, a point. They got a chance to take this highly media flooded fight so many people would think it's a disgrace, but yes, it's going to be a team builder right here, and they're going to cover that 10.5. Lay the 10.5 with Michigan State. Let's go.
All right, laying the points with authority, says Big Boss here with Michigan State. All right, Virginia Tech and Liberty, 9.5, 10-point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this game. Virginia Tech, not a team I'm looking to back, disappointing 2-8 season. They're just playing for exercise right now. 0-5 straight up, 1-4 against the spread on the road as they take on Liberty. You know, Liberty, I think when you look at this spot here, they lost to UConn. You think bad loss. It was a bad spot. I'm not going to really downgrade Liberty too much. And first and second of all, UConn's playing better and with a lot of, guts here down the stretch, competitive football from Jim Mora Jr.'s team. So I'm not going to go wild saying what a bad, horrible loss that was for Liberty. Let's not forget they were coming off the huge road win at Arkansas. It was not a good spot. I thought UConn was a live dog there, and they certainly were. I think now Liberty, this is the game that they are very much interested in. Now, they already beat Liberty the last time these two teams played a couple of years ago. The Malik Willis-led Liberty team, 38-35 in that game. But I'm telling you what, Liberty's offense is definitely getting better. This quarterback that's playing for them now, Jonathan Bennett, has gotten more comfortable as time has gone on. Now they've got an interesting decision to make because he's playing better, yet I believe the quarterback that they were going with, Caden Salter, is available to them if they wanted to start him for this game. But I think they're going to stick with Bennett because of just how much better he's played here in recent games. But they got two quarterbacks that they think are pretty solid. I would only look at the favorite here, honestly. For Virginia Tech, I think Liberty would take pleasure not only beating them, maybe beating them up. And Virginia Tech's it's a team you can beat up right now. Let's put it that way. And certainly last week it was proven by Duke that this team's just, if you want to blow them out, you can blow them out because they have no offense right now. And even the defense has been disappointing here the last few weeks out of Virginia Tech. So it'll be Liberty or nothing for me. I think laying the points, as long as you get it at 9.5, 10, no more than that, I think you can lay the points here in this spot. What do you think here, C-Mac?
I'm with you. I just don't want to lay 10 with Liberty. It just seems a little strange, but Va Tech is horrible, and there's just no way I could take this football team at all right now. So this was a quick pass for me, cross off.
Duke has been done a great job this year, Mike Elko, but their defense is still a little shaky, and to only put 7 points up against them last week tells you all you need to know about the Hokie offense right now. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, Liberty's definitely the better team without question, and this particular time. And the Virginia teams, out of all the Virginia teams, probably Liberty's one of the best ones that they have in state right now. But I think this is a key game for them. They're going bowling obviously already. I think we might see you freeze part after this year. I don't know if they're going to hold them up there. So I think they're going to try to open this game up a little bit. I'm not crazy about the total, because of Virginia Tech's inefficiencies on offense. So, and I don't want to lay that big number either. I'm with Conor on that. So I would maybe look to possibly, if I can get a decent number on the team total over with Liberty, I'll probably run after that one. But I got to see what it is. I don't know what it is, but I'll let you know when we come back for the next game if I'm going to be on that or not. But right now, I would say Liberty team total over or pass. That's it. All
right, boss.
Here go another one. Checked out this Virginia Tech team, 2-8 straight up, 3-7 ATS on the road. What makes you think they want to play football today? I just don't see it. But I'm not too fond of Liberty and what they can do and what they cannot do other than the numbers. I wish it was a team I would have been on a lot earlier in the season and I would be paid off Liberty by now. But I'm not. So I'm not going to jump on the Liberty train right here. But I would lean under with this one because despite Virginia Tech's inability to score on offense, they still been keeping teams down to under 400 yards a game. I think it's like 370 or something like that. But they're able to keep them pretty low, and that shows that you do have a little defense touching the field. So maybe the slight class difference and the defense being a little bit more, a little solid, kind of slows them down a little bit, and Liberty probably only beats them 30-3. So give me the under in that one.
All right, let me jump back in for 1 minute. I went back and looked. So not one time has this team given up more than 30 points, Virginia Tech. It's a 29, 27, 21, a lot of mid to high 20s. So and the team total sit at 28.5. So I would pass on that too. So I'm with Boss. I would lean towards the under here.
All right, leaning toward the under with Virginia Tech and Liberty. Yeah, you can tell Boss has missed the last few weeks. He's bringing his best material today on the Hub Show. No
I'm
question
feeling
about
great,
that.
man. I'm feeling great.
Checked out, feeling great, feeling better, and it's great to see it. Liberty Bibberty, as he said. Actually, that's what they say in the commercial. So that's what Boss is feeling about Liberty. Yeah, they're good. They're not that great though. They might. Good might be all they need, though, against this Virginia Tech team today. Illinois, Michigan. I'll tell you what, good will not be good enough for Illinois. They've got to be great. They've got to be excellent if they're going to pull off the upset here in the Big House. Michigan, 17-point home favorites, 42 the total in this game. I'd love to see how this game plays out if Illinois just wasn't so freaking banged up. I mean, Chase Brown's been injured, although it looks like he's going to play. Tommy DeVito's good to go. It's really the defense and the secondary that are a little bit banged up. And I guess this is where we're going to find out if J.J. McCarthy's got a real passing attack, because we know he's athletic. He can run. I still think he's a little suspect in terms of the deep ball, in terms of the passing game. Well, he's got a depleted Illinois secondary to play against today. So let's see if McCarthy, shows what he can do through the air, which hasn't been always consistent for him this year. But fascinating matchup. You've got the huge game with Ohio State next week. So, and we were going to say the same thing about Ohio State when they play Maryland. Look ahead spots, big favorites. Are you capable of having the focus, the execution to cover a number like this? I think I definitely want to take Illinois. I might have a small bet on Illinois. I just wish they were a little bit healthier. They are dealing with a bunch of injuries, but this is a lot of points, and this is the role we like Illinois in. A team that's going to shorten the game, long possessions, run the football. The issue, again, is Michigan's run defense is pretty good. Will they have success with Chase Brown running that football is the biggest question, but it feels like a lot of points to be given an Illinois team that really hasn't been blown out in hardly any games this year. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, you know what? It's cold, 25, wins almost 20. I mean, this total is 41, and they're getting 18. I think they cover. And we talked about it the last few weeks. These first halves, Michigan's been asleep at the wheel. So if you want, maybe split it up, Illinois here, first half and full game. I know they're banged up, but Browns a go. I've been looking at it all week. So I think they can hang around, especially early here in a kind of a shitty weather game.
I mean, 3 losses by 8 points or less for Illinois. I mean, the 3 defeats have been single score. And I know Michigan is tougher than a lot of the opponents they've played, but remember, Maryland covered at the Big House earlier this year, and Illinois is a whole lot better than Maryland. So I think Illinois, there's a pathway for Illinois to cover this number. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, like Connor says, the low number should put you on the dog here, with the total. But I think this game might sneak over the total in actuality. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be on the Illinois side and maybe a little sprinkle on the over here, because I think I know both defenses are going to be up early, be barking early here. But I think we might see a couple of turnovers one way or the other that might push this game over the total. But I like Illinois side better than the total, so I'd be in Illinois here or pass for sure.
All right, boss.
Well, for me, this is going down in a couple conferences. The Big Ten being one, the Pac-12, the SEC. I mean, many people trying to play it out in their head like they think this thing is just going to go the way it's supposed to go. But we've seen for many, many years in college football that these teams seem to sock each other in the eye at the wrong time. So I think all the dogs are live in the Big Ten today, basically. There could be a point in this game where Illinois is winning by far. Brett Bielema, he's been coaching a great team. He plays very strategic. If he has one block punt or something to put him up, he can leverage his way out of that game and actually take Michigan out right here. So I think everybody's live in the Big Ten. So give me the points with the dog.
There is still a pathway for, by the way, in the Big Ten West for Iowa, Minnesota, Purdue, and Illinois to all win that division, because they all have 4-3 conference records. Everybody's alive still. But again, there's some teams that Purdue's the only team that controls their own destiny. Purdue actually has the inside track, but Illinois could get in if Purdue stumbles. If Illinois and Purdue stumble, that opens a door for Minnesota, and they're all alive still to be in that Big Ten championship game out of the West Division. So it's going to be an exciting final couple weeks watching this play out. Speaking of Purdue, they're hosting Northwestern. Purdue 17.5-point home favorites, 44.5 being the total in this game. Purdue, again, is just just control their own destiny. Win this week, win next week when they play at Indiana in the old Oaken Bucket, and they are in the Big Ten championship game. Purdue is the one team that controls their own destiny right now after beating Illinois 31-24 last week. Northwestern fell 31-3 against Minnesota, just a dismal offensive game from the Wildcats. It was definitely a struggle. They ended up using, believe it or not, 3 quarterbacks, Helinski, Sullivan, and it was just absolutely ugly for them. No question about that. Richardson as well. I mean, just ugly stuff from Northwestern offensively. But do you want to lay this many with Purdue? That ends up being the question here. For me, I'm probably going to pass overall on this one. I mean, it's just a few too many points for me. But that's the one thing about Purdue. They've not been a win by margin team. Win by 2 against FAU, 10 against Minnesota, win by 2 at Maryland, 6 against Nebraska, 7 against Illinois. They haven't been winning by these kind of margins. That's the only worry I have here laying this kind of number. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, Northwestern just hasn't been good as a dog. You know, that game 2 weeks ago against Ohio State seemed kind of like a fluke, that 21-7. And next week, they just get ripped, 31-3 last week. You know, Purdue hasn't really got it done. They haven't looked great as of late. So this was a pass for me as well. Yeah, all the way around, pass it.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Purdue doesn't have one of the elite defenses in the Big Ten, but you know they do put the ball up a lot though. And Northwestern they're just a hot mess right now. So I mean, and you're asking to cover a huge number here. So I mean, there's no really solid angles to go about this game. I'm trying to look at them every which way. So I'm going to be off of this game all the way across the board.
Again, wind in the forecast a little bit here in West Lafayette here in Purdue for this game. That's probably more negative for Purdue because of the fact they do throw the football quite a bit. So that's another concern with laying the points. What do you think, boss?
Another team that I'm going to say checked out with Northwestern. I mean, they're 1-9 straight up. They're 4-6 ATS. Now, 4-6 ATS, we might be able to deal with, along with the fact that they're almost 50-50 to the over and under. They're 4-5-1. So that means that the defense can probably touch the field and play a little bit at times. I kind of lean, you know, despite them being checked out, I lean with taking the points again right here. Like I said, the underdogs, we got weather factors. We got all kinds of other stuff going on. We got what the people think and all that good stuff. And you got a Northwestern team that, you know, historically has been sporadic at any point in time. You know, any team in this Big Ten can basically step to the occasion and win one day. So I have to take Northwestern plus the 17.5.
All right, taking the looking at maybe Northwest. It's a lot of points. There's no question. Next up, as we continue along here on the early games, the noon Eastern kickoffs here for this Saturday slate, we've got UMass and Texas A&M. A&M 32.5 point home favorites. The total 46.5. I don't know what A&M is going to show up like 3-7. You can't even go bowling anymore, and now you expect me to lay points with you in a meaningless non-conference game. The problem is UMass going to score, you know, against the A&M defense? That's the thing that would concern you a little bit. You know, this is just the game. I early in the week I said there's no way I'm betting this game either way, so it's an easy pass. What do you think, Connor?
Ugly, yeah, pass. Maybe look under, but
yeah,
I can't even get involved here.
Yeah, maybe the under, because look, A&M actually the defense has been okay but the offense is just pathetic right now. Only 10 points last week against Auburn. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso would say. All right, so this team has lost 6 SEC games in a row. And I told DJ early in the year, thank God for NIL, because Jimbo would have been fired, and if he'd had that great recruiting class in a couple of years, he's going to have an ace of a team to put on the field. But in the meantime, you know, they struggled, major struggles, and you're laying some big wood here. This is all about pent-up frustration for this team. You know, the motivation probably not there, but, you know, they want to whoop somebody's ass. And if they can't whoop UMass's ass, you might as well just pack up and go home for the rest of the season, which they probably already have. But I think it's a game for A&M to kind of – and I'm going to bet A&M twice this year. I'm 1-1 with them, so they're going to – this is the rubber game for me for A&M. I'm going to take a shot with them. It's a lot of points. It doesn't make sense. I think they covered the number today. I don't think UMass scores a point today. I think 42-0 or 35-0 game.
Yeah, the part of it that makes sense is UMass offensively is terrible, and they may not score in this game. That's the part of that bet that makes sense for sure. Boss, what do you think?
That one's a total pass. Just a pure disappointment with Texas A&M. But like Big Ragoo said, like, you know, they're not really losing recruits or nothing by having this down year and all that. You know, they allow these newer coaches to have these down years and all that stuff. It's just a matter of how far down they go down sometime. But the public is probably swarming for them to get out of here. But maybe they do cover today. But I'm going to pass.
All right, UConn and Army. Army 10.5-point home favorites, 44.5 the total. I'm going to do it. I was going to pass early in the week, honestly, because I didn't love this spot. UConn celebrated like mad last week with that win against Liberty. Huge win, down to the wire. They pulled it out. They got bowl eligible with that win. I'm worried they just maybe a no-show. They don't get off the bus, so to speak, today. But then I looked at it more, and I'm like, can we really trust Army laying double digits right now? I mean, defensively all year, they've been absolutely terrible. And look, I mean, you look.
You go out. You there, Ian?
Oh, sorry, there we go. Yeah,
No volume.
there we go. Sorry about that. The mic just ended up muted for a sec. But yeah, Army, their resume this year is not impressive, to be quite honest. You look at the wins: Villanova, Colgate, UL Monroe. Can you believe that? Those are the three wins: Villanova, Colgate, and UL Monroe. Those are the three victories. They've lost every other game, and now they're laying double digits. To all this UConn does is fight, compete, battle. You know, are they a great run defense, UConn? Not necessarily, but which is the concern here against the triple option. But look, I think Zion Turner and the offense will move the ball a little bit. And look, even Army's offense has gone downhill the last couple of weeks. They only scored 7 against Air Force, 9 against Troy. Two good teams, two good run defenses. But I'm telling you what, there is nothing on this Army resume this year and what they've done and how bad the defense has been for the most part that tells me I'm ready to trust them as double-digit favorites. And even with this being a little bit of a questionable spot for UConn, I think I got to take the points here with the Huskies plus the 10.5. It's too many points. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, it just seems like, there should be like 6 or 7. I mean, maybe not 10.5. It is that crazy spot. Looked at it all week. Yeah, it's just UConn or nothing here. I mean, something's just fishy about it, but yeah, there's no way I could back Army. I just, just go through everything you mentioned through these two teams. To me, you take the 10.5 or you just watch this one.
4-1 ATS on the road as well for UConn this year. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, 7-0 ATS the last 7 UConn. But I mean, this is all about optics here. Like you said, the last 2 games Army played, to their credit, they played 2 tough, run defensive teams with Troy and Air Force. But it's got to be an element of surprise for UConn, even though they're probably well coached, which we know Moore's done a hell of a job with these guys. Got them bowl eligible, 9-2 ATS. Played at some unders here, and if anything, I would probably look to an under possibly instead of laying the points. But we got the only thing that scares me about UConn, not scares me as a team to back, but to bet on right now is they're getting a lot of love across the board everywhere. So when that usually happens, that usually drop the kibosh on your ass. So be careful if you're going to back UConn here because Army might have something. Even though they're a little off this year, West Point is usually where they play the best football, and because it's the first matchup, you never know what can happen. But yeah, I would lean under here, and I would stay off the side with UConn.
All right, boss.
Man, I feel so late to the party with this UConn team. Not a big fan of Jim Mora, but hey, he's gaining my likeness now. He's 9-2 ATS. He's 3-7-1 to the under. He's coming out playing some decent defense. He's holding teams to under 400 yards despite being a 6-5 team overall. But his offense is very slow. He can't really pass well. He likes to run the ball, which is a good thing. Keeps too many turnovers out of the air. I don't see why the books put the 10.5 between them. So I really like taking UConn plus the points, but I can't figure out the why. So I don't know exactly, why is it 10.5 right there? But the spot I am liking more and more is the first half under in this one. So I like first half under right here. I think UConn definitely plays great defense. The proof is in the pudding in their numbers. And I think the Army, they're going to try to force the Army to pass on 3rd and long. And if they can get them to pass, then they can shut them down a few times and keep this game low, at least first half.
All right, liking that lower scoring early in the game. All right, we got Florida, Vanderbilt, Florida, 14-point road favorites, 57 the total in this game. Now, the two teams, look, it's kind of like the Florida State game. I probably could only lay the points with Florida State there, and same thing here with Florida. Even though they both play each other, you worry about the look ahead a little bit. But, this Florida team is revving up. They crushed A&M. They destroyed South Carolina last week. They're really starting to play some good football. I thought they hung in there as long as they could against Georgia on the road. They didn't play that bad in that game. So Billy Napier's team, as you would expect with a good coach, they get better as the season goes on. They get better late in the season. You're seeing that out of Florida right now, including the defense keeps playing better and better each week as well. And they have destroyed Vanderbilt over the years, 42-0, 38-17, 56-0 the last 3 years. I mean, I want to lay the 2 touchdowns badly with Florida because I think this could be a romp for them. But they do play Florida State. That being said, I would still only look Florida here, laying those points. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I was going through those numbers. They do own them, and they're playing good football. But I got to take the double-digit dog here in Vandy.
Wow,
I think they can hang
did
around
win last week. Yep.
I think they can hang around. So give me the 2 touchdowns with Vandy.
They did. They did stun Kentucky 24-21. Now that we don't know who's going to be quarterback. Swan got injured, and Mike Wright took over. So we'll see who's at the quarterback spot today. Swan questionable. It might be Mike Wright, who's more of the running quarterback. He's not a great passer. Swan's the better passing quarterback, but they might go with Mike Wright today out of necessity because Swan's banged up. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Remember the very first show, I says Vandy over 2.5 plus 120 with total wins. They got it 23-4. Then I said there's going to be an upset along the way somewhere late in the season, and hence here we go. Now they're 4-6. The Gators are coming to town, which, like you said, they've owned them. And if they beat the Gators, do they go bowling if they beat Tennessee next week? But that's a far-fetched, and we got a long way to go there. But to your point, though, with the success Florida's had, and the team runs through Richardson, obviously. So when he's playing great, everything's clicking for Florida, and the defense is the difference maker for them right now. So I think, maybe a little bit of a happy spot after that win last week, and Florida comes in there and wipes them out, just early on. I would take Florida in the first half here, and then they start focused on Florida State once they get the game in control. But Florida first half.
Florida first half for Big Ragoo. All right, boss.
I don't like Florida on the road. We talked about Bill Napier and what he was going to do here at Florida. He's done a great job thus far. A couple more wins, and he'd be doing a super great job. But right here on the road, he seems to lack a little defense on the road. He gives up a few points on the road. So this Vandy team, I don't even see that the line has been weighed since they had the win last week. Maybe they should have showed them a little more love, but I don't even see Florida beating them by this 14 on the road. So, but I'm gonna pass. I'm not going. I'm letting Napier figure it out. Maybe they don't travel well with him so far. He's so meticulous. You never know what's going on. So I'm just gonna pass on that one.
All right, one of the big games as well at noon, TCU and Baylor. We've got TCU 2.5-point road favorites, 57.5 the total. Look, I'm done. Like I said last week, especially now after what I saw from them against Texas, done betting against TCU. I mean, this team's just been on fire, 10-0. We thought maybe that's a little bit of a trap that they're a touchdown underdog as an undefeated team, and sure enough, they win at Texas 17-10. That would be TCU laying the points for me or nothing, or TCU money line probably just, and this is what I usually do with the short favorites. I also think, look, last week was a rare defensive battle involving TCU. I think it goes back to more of a higher scoring affair with TCU, and Baylor's defense has been a huge disappointment this year. 31 to Kansas State, 35 to Oklahoma, 43 they gave up in a loss to West Virginia, 36 to Oklahoma State. Not the Dave Aranda defense we thought. Blake Shapen in the offense, though, are capable. Last week, not so much against Kansas State, but I think a little bit of a bounce back for them. I would look at the TCU side and over the total of 57.5. What do you think here, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I just think this seems so easy for me. Just take TCU.
I was concerned about it last week too, and apparently
I
not.
know, but every week this happens and you're undefeated. There's a bullseye. Baylor played, I thought, their worst game all year long. I think they come to play here. I think we see an upset. Baylor beats them, I think.
I like the boldness. That's actually not so bold. Baylor's capable. Baylor's best game can beat anybody. We just haven't seen it consistently all year. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, with these coaches coming in like Venables and Baylor coach Aranda in his second year coming over there, you think they would tighten up the things defensively on their side, but to their credit, they're 7-3 with overs and 6-4, straight up and against the number. And TCO, like Conor says, they got a bullseye on their back, and they're gonna have to do everything perfect the rest of the way out, even to kind of scratch and sniff the playoffs. So this is a game where they definitely want to go out and impress. Whether they do it, that short number is indicative to what the way the game's going to go. I think it's going to be a last possession type of game, but I would still lean towards the over here. I think there's still going to be points regardless. I think TCU is going to get their points, whether they get the last possession to control the game and close it out. That might be another story. So yeah, it's right for the pickings for the upset, but I still like the over here.
All right, liking the over, boss.
It's one of the greatest games on the card today. You're going to have an upset Baylor team coming off a loss. You're going to have this Cinderella story of this TCU teams with Sonny Dykes that they're saying is just that, a Cinderella team. They play so well. They're excited to come to practice. All these great attributes of these great teams that we've seen in college football. But we ain't really seen one of them great teams in a long time to come through. I would say the last great team that impressed us was my Notre Dame, the undefeated season, and that was a disaster at the end. But going to be a great game to watch. No way to bet this game but live, because you're going to get two different stories, two different halves. You don't know. This game's probably going to have several lead changes, and you'll probably find, if you like Baylor, you'll probably find a bigger number live. If you like TCU, you'll probably find them plus points at some point in time in the game. So only way to bet this game is live, man. And I don't lean over, under, or either side. I just want to get as much value as I can going into the fourth quarter.
Kendre Miller's on one hell of a run at the running back spot for TCU. He's just been absolutely incredible. I mean, it's almost a given for 100 rushing yards, it seems, in every game. All right, we'll do the next two games one by one. Wisconsin, Nebraska, UTSA, Rice. I mean, I would be reluctant to lay 10 with Wisconsin. They're now out of the Big Ten West race for that championship game to get in the conference title game. It's Nebraska at home. Wisconsin's a little bit banged up. I haven't bet Nebraska much this year, but I'm considering it. They're 10.5 point home dogs against Wisconsin. UTSA, Rice, we do have weather issues there, rain and maybe a little bit of wind. Otherwise, I would have really loved the over because, I've been on these overs with Rice games all season long. I mean, they're 8-2 to the over this year. I still lean that way, but obviously the weather is a concern. But both offenses should be, in good weather, would be able to score. The question is, what do they do with the weather being what it is in Houston for that UTSA Rice game? Conor Mac, what do you think of those two games?
They're both passes for me. Nebraska now as a 10-point dog is interesting to me. I looked at it, and the other one is just a pass, the UTSA Rice. All
right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I'm going to be off of the Wisconsin game because they don't have to win by margin. They get bowl eligible if they win today, and I would have to look because I know that number moved sharply off the open towards Nebraska side, so it hasn't done much since. So it's not a game of interest for me. Then I have a slight interest in the UTSA side. In the Rice game, Rice has been a lot better of late. This year for the most part they've covered some numbers, but I think UTSA has too much offensive firepower for the team. I think they get the number done. I think they win by margin here, not by easily, but I think they win by at least one better score over the number. I think they win double digits here, like 19 to 21 points is what I got.
Yeah, I think. Look, I know Rice needs one win for bowl eligibility, and to be honest, it's going to be tough because they got UTSA and North Texas to finish the season. Neither one's going to be easy, so it's going to be really close when it comes to Rice trying to get to a bowl game here. What do you think, boss?
This is another one. Nebraska checked out, but you can never underestimate Nebraska at home. But you asked the question right here. As a checked out team at home, do they pack defense or do they pack offense? I think some checked out teams, definitely check out on defense before they check out on offense. Everybody loves to score. So I lean over in this one. There's probably some weather things in there too. I haven't seen it all the way, but I lean over in this one. The Wisconsin's new approach is a little more passing than running like they used to be. Like this with the coaching change over here, we're getting a new Wisconsin. So we can't take our old values of Wisconsin being a smash mouth run team, great defense, and all those type of things. I think they head for the fields and they throw the ball around a little bit more than normal. So I think this game could easily go over.
All right. Next up, Kansas State, West Virginia. We've got K-State here, 8-point road favorites, 54.5 the total. Look, I'm not stepping in front of Kansas State. They're a lot better than West Virginia. I would lean to them. I like the over here a little bit, though, because I actually think West Virginia is going to be better off with Garrett Green at quarterback. He's been confirmed as the starter. JT Daniels has been benched by Neil Brown, and I don't blame Neil Brown. He hasn't been consistent enough. He's made these horrible decisions and interceptions lately. Hasn't been good enough, JT Daniels, period. You deserve to be sitting down on the bench. So I don't mind this move. It actually, I think, helps their offense. He actually played well and sparked them in that game against Oklahoma when he came in. So I like the over, lean Kansas State. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, I want to take West Virginia here at home. I kind of lean their way. This is one I've been just I haven't pulled the trigger on. I lean them, but I haven't done it yet.
By the way, Will Howard again at quarterback today for K-State. He's been good, though. This guy has shown he's taken that next step. He was a game manager before. He's making plays now. Adrian Martinez is out due to injury, but Will Howard's been very good. So I have no issues or worries about K-State's offense with him under center. He's been quite good. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, if we get the Kansas State defense that played against Baylor and Oklahoma State, it might be tough sledding for West Virginia. But like you said, with the offensive changes there, I kind of like that move too. But I think we'll still see points either way, and I think 54 is low enough to kind of get over. And even though Kansas State can play lights out, I think playing against West Virginia in this spot, I'm kind of like with Connor. I lean West Virginia side, but I like the total over a little bit better.
Yeah, K-State has been pretty solid on the road. That is true. Someone in the chat mentioning that, Craig Wood. Boss, what do you think?
I lean with K-State plus the points as well. I see you can get a 7 with a hook on it too right now. Neil Brown, his job could be at jeopardy. They did get rid of the AD over there. So
yes,
that could have been a move to get rid of him as well, because they said the AD, might not have enough kahunas to fire that guy. But a lot of turmoil over there, and that's when teams sometimes come together and fight, and they're at home on this one. So we got a K-State team who's been playing really, really good, but they have some slip-ups. So, and the slip-ups can continue, especially down the stretch right here. Once again, I'm not sure of the weather in this one, but if we can get it cold enough over there with West Virginia defense, we might hold on to an under as well. But not getting to the window with neither, but I like West Virginia in the under.
All right, good stuff. All right, we'll do a trio now of actually, we'll bang out the rest of the 2 o'clock games here that are taking place. We'll do Washington State, Arizona, Georgia State, James Madison, Houston, East Carolina, and Oregon State versus Arizona State. First, Washington State, Arizona, over, obviously. And I worry about Arizona in this spot, too, after the huge upset against UCLA. I'd probably lean to the Cougars a little bit, but I like the over. I think you're going to see points both ways, Cougars and Wildcats in that one. So I like over with Washington State, Arizona. Georgia State, James Madison. It's a light lean to JMU, but they've come back down to earth a little bit. That being said, Georgia State, not really interested in that defense and how they've played. Houston, East Carolina, for me, it's still fade Houston and take the over in their games. I mean, Houston is just a sieve defensively, but Tune and the offense are scoring, and East Carolina should move the ball. I like ECU laying less than a touchdown. I like the over as well in that game. And then Oregon State, Arizona State, no, as long as it's 7 or less, and I don't bet Oregon State on the road very often, but I'm going to look at Oregon State here laying the points in this game. 7-3. They're actually still alive. They need some help, but they're still alive in the Pac-12 North hunt as well. And I think they're a lot better than Arizona State. So those are my looks on those 4 games. Conor Mac, what do you think of those 4?
Yeah, I kind of lean Georgia State with the points. I don't love it. I think Wazoo could take care of business. I mean, over there. Oregon State game should win, but I'm off. That seems like a tricky one. What was the last one? ECU. Hey,
Yeah.
I like ECU. I'm not big on Houston. I think they get it done, but just every time they become a favorite like this, Ian, they just can't get it done. So I'd watch out. But on paper at home, East Carolina should take care of business.
Yeah, Houston is just, I can't believe with the talent on that defense how pathetic they've been this season. But they're giving up 30s, 40s, 50s now every game, Houston. Just awful on that side of the ball. Terrible. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean the Washington State side after that big win with Arizona last week over UCLA. And then the Dukes, I like them. I like James Madison to continue on with their – even though they haven't been playing as good as they have all season, they're still capable enough to take out Georgia State. They're too one-dimensional. I think the Dukes will handle business there. East Carolina and Houston, I'm all about the over in that spot there. Like you said, Houston's defense and East Carolina rising up. Both teams play well to the over. I mean, especially Houston, they're like 8-1-1 to the over. And then Arizona State, Oregon State. I'm gonna take Arizona State here at home. Getting the plus 7.5. I think they can stay within the number. It's Oregon State's troubles on the road covering numbers. I would lean with Arizona State.
Yeah, it's funny. Bob Taylor in the chat saying Daniels is showing why he couldn't beat out Bennett. It's funny. There were people murmuring and a little, head scratching and a little upset even that JT Daniels got taken out so early in favor of Stetson Bennett there at Georgia. Well, we're finding out, I think the Georgia coaching staff knew what they were doing because JT Daniels hasn't been very good ever since the Georgia days either at all the other stops he's been at. And West Virginia, he's just been not good enough. So I agree with him getting benched here too now at West Virginia. What do you think here, boss, these 4 games?
Man, this crazy again how the schedule rolls out. Both of these teams off of a great win last week with Washington State and Arizona, both huge wins for the Pac-12. Arizona's defense was so impressive. I don't even know what to say about that one. And I can't just take Washington State. If they carry any of that momentum forward, we got a great game going on between those two. So I'm gonna pass on that one. Georgia and JMU. I lean with JMU, but it's just too many points right there to play around at this point in time. I think I'll pass on that one. Then Houston and ECU, I endorsed the over in that one as well. Defense has been just forgotten at Houston at times. I don't know what type of program they got going on now, but they did find some improvement in the middle of the season to kind of balance their record out. But this ECU team is a strong offensive team, and I think they both get over. They score about 70-something points in that one. And then I kind of like Oregon State on the road. They're not traditionally the best on the road right here, but the defense, especially in the secondary, is phenomenal. The way they locked up USC still it has an imprint in my head that if they ever come out and play that type of defense against anybody, it's an automatic win. So I like Oregon State under the 7. I like that one right there.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. I agree with that. All right. We got 2 games at 2:30. We have Old Dominion, App State, and we've got Boston College and Notre Dame. Old Dominion, App State, 16.5-point favorites, App State. I'm telling you what, I'm not laying that with App State. In fact, I'm trying to talk myself a little bit into Old Dominion, but obviously their offense has scuffled in recent weeks. They're now not able to go bowling, so you worry about motivation a little bit. They've just been utterly pathetic on offense the last 2 weeks, 3 points combined. It's hard to get there to the window with them, but you're talking about 0-3 ATS for App State. So I'd still take the dog before I lay this many with App State because they're now out of the Sun Belt race as well. And that's probably a jarring blow for a team that's usually used to contending in this conference. Now they can't even get to the championship game. So you worry about a hangover here for App State. So lean Old Dominion only for me. Boston College, I like the plus 20.5, 21 with Boston College. I mean, they have suddenly shown life. How about Notre Dame as double-digit favorites now, 0-5 against the spread this year under Marcus Freeman? As double-digit favorites. It's not been good. They've found something in this Emmett Moorhead kid at quarterback, Boston College. He's played great. He led them to an upset against NC State last week. BC does have some illnesses going on. Brian, as you mentioned, that's true. But to me, I've been fading Notre Dame as double-digit chalk pretty much all year. I did it again last week with Navy. Boston College, just too many points, in my opinion, to be giving them almost 3 touchdowns. What do you think here, Conor Mac?
Yeah, gosh, can Old Dominion, step up here? Because I don't know if, App State is at home, though. That's where they play their better football. I don't know if I can get there. Yeah, Notre Dame, 3 touchdowns at home. No way. Just give me the points with BC.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I can't fly an autopilot with Boston College, even though they are playing nice, better, I should say. But no, we're still waiting for Notre Dame to have that big breakout cover. You know what I mean? So I picked my spots with them this year so far, and I've been pretty successful with them overall. But I'm still on the fence with it. I think they have a breakout game. This could be it, but I'm not going to get to the window with the side here, even though, like you said, BC's playing a lot better. So this could be a dangerous game. And App State, anything other than competing in the championship game is a disappointment. Even though with a W today, they get bowl eligible. I don't know part of a team that's having a down year, better than 2 touchdowns in this spot here. So I don't want to back Old D, but it would have to be Old D or pass possibly. So
Yeah,
I'm going to be off of both of those games.
I agree. It feels like a ripe for the picking spot to fade App State. I just worry laying that many points, but I just worry about, can Old Dominion do anything on offense? What do you think here, boss?
ODU and App State, I don't know why the public keeps betting this up. 14 would have been great. Now you all the way up to 16 and a half. Full game is definitely a no-no with this App State team right here. But App State is 4-2 at home, and ODU is 1-3 on the road. ODU team kind of disappointed me this year. They were supposed to be a lot stronger on defense and then better on offense. And, they just couldn't put neither together. I think this is a great spot for App State. This is the lowest they've been in a while. It's a great spot for them to get a great victory today, but I don't trust them second half because that's where they always screw up. So I like App State first half, and even the line reflects it. I believe I seen it earlier in the week at 9. I don't know what it's up to now, but it even reflects that they're gonna kick ass in the first half. It's gonna be senior night for your boy Bryce over there, the super duper senior, been transferred around. So I think he's gonna put on a small show a little bit early. They're gonna be up in the apps where they do it the best, and they're gonna get past it in the first half. What happens in the second half, I'm gonna leave that there. And Notre Dame BC. The key to this, before we tell everybody the secret to Notre Dame, the key is double-digit victories at home. It's not that we are incapable of doing it. It's not something that we just consider like doing it. We just want to win at home. It doesn't have to be by any type of margin. A win is great at home. Now on the road, that's when we did go up on a couple teams and cover double digits and all that kind of stuff. So we at home. I was comfortable with the 21 earlier, but since y'all want to bet it down to 20 and a half, I take the 20 and a half as well. Give me BC plus the points. Another trend at home is also the under, but they bet that all the way down to 42 and a half. Now I'm kind of leaning over, to tell you the truth. That running style that Notre Dame has put together, double tights with motion and this big back that's just coming in, it's going to be hard for BC to play consistently throughout the game with that. But BC, they call themselves some warriors, so they be out there, trying to hold down the line. So maybe they get a few stops and keep Notre Dame slowed down. But I need Notre Dame to beat BC, go over just a little bit and save some energy to whoop USC. Let's go.
Well, actually, Notre Dame's going to have a puncher's chance against USC because they don't play any defense. So they might have a chance when they play the Trojans there. All right, 3:30 Eastern kickoff games coming up next year. We'll do the first 2. Penn State, Rutgers, NC State, Louisville. We've got Penn State 18.5, 45. And Louisville 3-point home favorites, 43 the total in this game. A lot of quarterback concerns with NC State. Like if we see Jack Chambers back at quarterback, there's no way I'm taking NC State. He was horrible, and MJ Morris was banged up. We're gonna have to see who starts in that game for NC State. Louisville's also got quarterback concerns of their own as well. Malik Cunningham out, but this Brock Doman kid, he started before. He actually didn't play that bad, in the other games that he started. So. Tough game. I'm going to pass. I'd lean Louisville, though, now that it's down to -3. And then Penn State, Rutgers, pass. I mean, it's too many points to lay on the road with Penn State, but I don't know if I trust Rutgers. I was lucky as shit to cash with Rutgers last week, backdoor touchdown late. So I don't know if I want to try my luck with Rutgers. I guess I'd lean Rutgers again, but I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, that was crazy. Fourth down, throw
Just
up.
heaved it to the end zone. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to take Rutgers. I don't know. They'll disappoint and not get it done. So I'm going to pass there. And I'm passing. I'm going to wait on the NC State Louisville. I'm going to check the quarterback situation. I don't know if I want to get involved in that one. I'd lean under a little bit.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, let's talk about the NC State game. Offensive issues on both sides. Austin and I broke this game down earlier in the week. I'm all about the under here. And I was talking about their kicker for NC State. He broke the all-time NCAA record, 89 field goals, 20 for 20 this year. This game goes down to a field goal. So either way, just play the under. Don't even look at the side in this game. And then the other game there, the Penn State game, that's a lot of wood to lay on the road. Rutgers, you can't trust them at home. Maybe lean Penn State first half, if anything. Otherwise, pass.
All right, boss.
Louisville, I hear it's senior night over there. Cunningham could play. I don't know, but if he plays, it makes a big difference in what type of game Louisville plays, total and size. So I'm a pass on that one. I'm a little disappointed in NC State down the stretch after starting so strong. They became a little deer in the headlights, so I'm a pass on that one. Penn State, Rutgers. I mean, Penn State has been really doing it on the road more than they have in the past, but 19.5, that's a lot of points against a Rutgers team that sometimes they play a little solid defense and they look a little excited to play at home at times. So I'm going to pass on that one too.
All right, nothing wrong with a pass. This time of year, too, now that we're down to the last couple weeks of the season. All right, we got two games next up in Power Conference games, Miami, Florida versus Clemson, Ohio State, Maryland. We've got Clemson 19-point home favorites, 47.5 the total. I think that game just sneaks over the total. I didn't bet aside. I'm still not going to take Miami, even though they played better against a woeful Georgia Tech team last week. I still don't like them at all. I'm not backing them. I'm not going to lay 19 either. I'm just going to think that game might creep over the total. Small over bet for me there. Same thing with the Maryland game. I think it gets over the total. I think Ohio State will score as often as they want against that Maryland defense. And look, at home, with that game on deck next week with Michigan, I think Maryland could punch a score or two across at home as well. So I like the over a little bit. And I'm definitely going to stop short of laying 4 touchdowns on the road with Ohio State in this spot. I'm not rushing to bet Maryland, but I prefer the home underdog there. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, I just don't know if I could get there with Maryland. They have not looked good, I think, as of late. And there is no way. Yeah, Miami, Clemson, off.
Big Ragoo.
Go ahead, Ragoo.
Yeah. All right. So the Ohio State game, I love the over in that game. I think we see a shit pile of points there. I think they get there. I got it capped into the 70s. The mid 70s. We're sitting at the middle 60s, and I'm with you, Ian. I kind of lean Maryland at home too. Catching the points. There's a lot of 4 touchdowns is a bunch, but it's only a lean right now. But I'm definitely on the over. And the Clemson game, yeah. 9-1 they are still. Here they are. Vying for an ACC championship, which they're going to probably play North Carolina. So, yeah, not saying that any look ahead here for anything. Miami's in a down year, and they're hanging a bunch of points. The Clemson offense is the question mark. They're up and down the board for me. So, I think they handle it with their defense, but I'm not going to lay that many points with them. So, and I don't want no part of Miami because they absolutely suck.
By the way, too, Ohio State against Maryland, 62, 62, 52, 73, 66. Those are the number of points they've scored against Maryland in the last 5 meetings. I mean, so I think that totals a little bit. Maryland's been just shredded by Ohio State every single time they play them. What do you think, your boss?
Miami and Clemson, I love the way the one looks on Clemson since it came from Notre Dame, but no way am I backing Clemson with 19.5 points. And this Miami team, no way I wouldn't put anybody's money in their hands. So that's a complete pass. But this Ohio State and Maryland game, I mean, if we look into it, Ohio State has been playing a little pedestrian in the first half. I think we got an opportunity with a Maryland team that can find the ability to score. And every now and then they have a defensive line that'll put a little rush to them and can shut them down on third down every now and then. So, and we've seen Ohio State losing in the first half so many times this year, and we've seen them blow teams out just in the fourth quarter alone. But I think we got action with Maryland first half plus the points.
All right, let's go to Georgia, Kentucky, Texas, Kansas. Two more games at 3:30 Eastern. Georgia, 22.5-point road favorites, 47 the total in this game. I mean, Georgia really doesn't have a whole lot on the line here in these last couple of games. Do you really want to lay 22.5 with them? They just need to win. But at the same time, do you trust Kentucky after what you saw last week? I mean, losing to Vanderbilt, couldn't move the football much of that game. Doesn't bode well against Georgia's defense. So I think you can make a case for either side, and certainly not matchup-wise, because Georgia probably is capable of winning this game big, but motivation and spot-wise, with everything locked up, I'm not so sure, and they just need to win. So I think it's a tough game to bet. I'm passing. And then Texas, Kansas, I'm coming back to Kansas here. Anytime they're a dog, and all they've done against Texas is beat them last year, almost beat them 2 years ago. They have been a problem for Texas, big time. I like the home underdog Kansas there. I think it's a high-scoring game as well over the total. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, Georgia, Kentucky is just get in with the win, get out. I like the under there, 48.5. And I'm with you. Give me Kansas. I'll take the 9. I'll even take him a little on the money line.
I mean, it's time to start talking about how Quinn Ewers the last few weeks too for Texas has really underwhelmed. Not played, not complete. His completion rate's been bad the last couple of weeks too. That's not good out of a 9-point favorite. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, the Georgia Kentucky game, I like the first half under. I think they're going to put it on the back of the defense. They're not going to ask too much offensively out of Georgia early on, and then as the game kind of gets out of hand late, it kind of sneaks over the total for Georgia. So I think Georgia comes out, dictates the pace early, and then second half blows them out late. So I like the first half under 26.5, and I like Georgia to score over 35 points.
All right, boss.
If there's any point to lay the wood, it's going to be with Georgia, somebody that's going to protect your money. So I like Georgia laying the wood right there. But Texas and Kansas line just looks backward. I would have to investigate more. It got to be some major injuries or something on Kansas for them to think that this Texas team, who's 6-4, they're 6-4 ATS, is going to beat this Kansas team that's also 6-4, but they're 7-2-1 ATS, and they're playing at home where they're 4-0-1 ATS. So I like this Kansas plus the points right here. It just looks odd for Texas to be giving up that many points considering their season that they're having so far.
Yeah, no question.
No,
Jalen
defense
Daniels
has been getting shredded. Yeah, and backup QB. Bean, he's been all right, though.
He's been all right, Bean, and Jalen Daniels might actually make a return today. They say he's going to give it a go and warm up, and we'll see if he's able to play. And obviously, we know how well he was playing before he got injured. So that line will move toward Kansas if we find out later today that Daniels is playing for them. All right, the next two games at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time as we continue to go on down the card here. We've got South Alabama, Southern Miss, and we have UL Monroe and Troy. South Alabama, 7.5-point road favorites, 45 the total. South Alabama needs to win out, and they need a loss out of Troy if they're going to get into the Sun Belt Championship, because Troy controls their own destiny. So South Alabama needs to win out and get some help. I don't know. Southern Miss has a good enough defense, and I'm always interested with that defense of theirs. Now, their offense isn't good, but their defense is. To catch an 8 points with Southern Miss at home, I'm kind of leaning in that direction. And then the other game, UL Monroe and Troy. Troy's defense is really good. I mean, really good, but their offense is really, really not so good. So 15-point favorites there. Monroe's been a feisty bunch under Terry Bowden. They've been covering some numbers lately. ULM, I'm kind of interested, even against that great defense. That worries me going against that Troy defense, but I think I like ULM a little bit. What do you think here, Connor, those two games?
Shout out to Dustin, man. I appreciate it. The video there.
And you know what I like about Dustin's comment? He corrected your name. 1 N, not 2. That's the best
Spot
part.
on, my guy. I like it. Hey, it's happened my whole life. Not a big deal. Troy, you talked about just don't have a great offense. I just can't lay 15. They win that game. It's just if they get it done. What was the other one? Oh, Southern Miss. Give me the 8 +8 there. They don't do anything crazy good. Their offense, like you talked about, isn't, but they're at home here. I think they keep that close. So give me the 8.
Yeah, and I'm going to have my faith, too, that Chandler Rogers for UL Monroe can do enough against that Troy defense. He's actually played very well lately. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
I got an interesting angle on the South Alabama game. If you go back and look at Southern Miss in their first quarter play, they've been shut out in 7 and 9 games in the first quarter. So I'm going to take the Jags minus half a point, minus 120 in the first quarter in that game. Just a hunch on that particular game. And I'm with you guys on the Troy UL Monroe game. I kind of lean Monroe there. I think they kind of keep it within 2 scores. Their defense is up, and Troy's defense is good too. I would lean under there too, but I think UL Monroe is capable of keeping it close under 2 scores there.
All right, boss.
I like South Alabama, and I would follow Ragoo with that little tidbit that he added right there. Makes a lot of sense. South Alabama first quarter.
Yep.
I would definitely go for that one. I like them full game. I just don't like the number 7.5. It's kind of yucky. But the other game is a total pass for me. I'm not too fond of ULM or Troy, so I'm a pass on that.
All right, next up, we've got 2 Conference USA matchups. Louisiana Tech, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, Middle Tennessee. I like the over in both games. I think they're both high scoring. I think they're both shootouts. Parker McNeil, I think, is going to play for Louisiana Tech. I think he's the best quarterback they have. 66 the total. I think that goes over them in Charlotte. Charlotte, horrible defense all year. I think the same thing about the Florida Atlantic Middle Tennessee game, but I think I lean Florida Atlantic a little. And I've not been rushing to bet Florida Atlantic on the road a lot this year, but Middle Tennessee seems to be running out of gas. And Florida Atlantic's playing for a bowl game today. One more win from Willie Taggart's team, and they're going to a bowl game. So I think Florida Atlantic -6. I think I'd lean that way. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Florida Atlantic's been better of late. Yeah, you just talked about it on the road by a touchdown. I think they get it done, but I'm not crazy about it. Yeah, La Tech, Charlotte, I'm off there. Charlotte's not very good. There should be points there. I just wanted to check the weather. I didn't, but as long as it's good weather, I agree with you. Should be over.
Yeah, not going to be terrible. Moderate wind, they say, but nothing heavy. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I'm all over that over with you guys. That's my highest rated total play of the day is that one, over the total on that Charlotte La Tech. And then the FAU, yeah, I mean, Middle Tennessee, I'm not crazy about Florida Atlantic on the road, but, getting a touchdown might be a decent look, and maybe they could sneak away with a upset special or get bowl eligible. So, yeah, I don't argue that. I like the over, though, on that Charlotte game. That's my best total today.
All right, really liking that La Tech Charlotte over, says Big Ragoo. All right, boss.
These are 2 feisty games right here. I just love to watch these 2. I don't see no real angles in either one of them. It's kind of like any man's win on both sides. So too much lopsidedness on the board today to take a equal game like these. So I pass.
All right, Cincinnati Temple and Western Kentucky Auburn next up. I'm taking Temple here, guys. Cincinnati's been now. We're starting to see some cracks in the armor. I thought they easily could have lost to East Carolina last week. They got outgained by 144 yards. They were 18.5-point favorites against Navy. They won by 10. They've not been winning by margin lately. Temple's covered 4 in a row. They've been competitive. Navy in overtime, they lost. A 7-point loss at Houston. Crushed South Florida. The quarterback, Warner, the son of Kurt Warner, is getting better every week. That's too many points. And Cincinnati now going on the road, laying this kind of number, and they've failed to cover in 5 straight. I like Temple there. Plus another, another. I'm all about the Owls today. Temple here as well, plus the 17 in this one. And then the other game, Western Kentucky Auburn. Weird spot for Auburn. Western Kentucky is pretty good offensive. The passing game, at least, could trouble Auburn a bit. I lean to the dog a little bit. I like the over, sneaky over there, Western Kentucky Auburn, because I think Auburn's offense with Ashford and Tank Bigsby, I think they get their offense going a little bit today against Western Kentucky. What do you think here, Conor Mac?
Yeah, 2 overs I like. in this one. I think Cincinnati Temple gets over. I like what I've seen from Warner, like you talked about. Every week's been a little bit better. I do like the 17. And yes, Kentucky, Auburn, over there. I love it. Good weather there. I think that gets over the 53.5.
All right, over the 53.5. All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Boston and I broke down the Temple Cincinnati game early in the week, and that was one I love too. I like Temple getting the points. Cincinnati's like 0-5 the last 5 ATS, and they're having a little bit down here in Temple the opposite way, 4-1 ATS last 5, and I would lean. I wouldn't get cute with the total here, but I would just take the points. That's the more solid side. And as far as the Auburn, Western Kentucky, Cadillac Williams, the new coach, right?
Yes, he is. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see if we get a little more of a response going forward for these guys. I would lean the Auburn side here, possibly. A little less than a touchdown. I think they can get the game by a touchdown and lean over with you guys here. So give me Auburn. I'll lay the points with Auburn here.
Appreciate the kind words.
Points with Temple.
And I appreciate the kind words, Dustin H. Glad you're enjoying the content very much. Appreciate it. All right, boss.
Cincinnati Temple. Cincinnati has let me down with these double-digit spreads all year. Still don't trust them in this spot with a home dog like Temple that could be a little feisty. And Luke Fickell, he just seems to play this weird type of football where it's pressure, it's not aggression, it's not exciting, it's bland, but he tries to get the job done. But he hasn't been doing as well as the pass and covering because he's 2-7 ATS, 2-7-1 for the year. So definitely Temple plus the points in that one. Now this Western Kentucky and Auburn, I've been debating this one all week after the interim coach was so excited that they were on the right path and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, you're an interim coach. You're going to get replaced quickly, buddy. You're not going to be – you don't have a chance. But this Western Kentucky team is built like one of these teams that could jump up against this SEC team in their downfall right here and come away with a win. So I really wanted to bet Western Kentucky plus the points. The public then came in and bet it all the way down to 5.5. Now I'm kind of leaning Auburn, knowing that they know who's coming now. So the players got to be motivated, knowing what they're going to get a good shot at having a spot next year. That goes for the backups and everybody. It just opens up a whole new thing right there. So with the camaraderie from last week and the win, and then actually knowing what next year is going to look like for them, I kind of like Auburn, but I wouldn't even take it with the points. I'll put this in some exotic and take them on the money line.
I think you can make a fundamental case for like a lot of these SEC teams. We'll get to UAB, LSU. That's another weird non-conference spot. But you can make a case that LSU is just going to overwhelm UAB, but another situation where LSU's locked up everything, including the SEC West. Do they really need to win by more than 15 points? But we'll get to that in a bit. Iowa, Minnesota, and FIU, UTEP, the next two games. I mean, Iowa, Minnesota. This is a just, cross your fingers special. I'm on over in that game. I have actually a stat out there that totals of, I believe, 33 or less in college football are like 8-1 to the over the last 9 times. I mean, proof that it's just too low. Too low. I know it's Iowa's offense. I know it's Minnesota's offense, but come on now, 31.5 for a college football. I'm just hoping we get over that by accident. Pizza money bet, but again, 8-1 to the over the last 9 times we've had a total of 33 or less in college football. So I'm riding that trend. And then FIU, UTEP's a pass, total pass. I mean, UTEP, if I had to, but I'm not laying that many points with a plodding offense. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, the Iowa, Minnesota, I'm not even going to mess with that. That total is crazy. Good luck. I hope you get the over, Ian. And I want to take FIU. I can't get there. So I had to pass.
They had a nice little run going, and now it's gotten ugly again for FIU the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm going to ease off the FIU train for a little bit here. I lean Minnesota as well in that game against Iowa at home. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, the Minnesota side for sure. And I don't care, but I'm tired of hearing about Iowa's defense, this, that, and the other. I want to see some friggin' points today. I want to see at least 20 points out of each team somehow. Somebody win by a field goal and somebody scored a touchdown in between somewhere. But, yeah, I think the game sneezes over the total. It's got to. I mean, it's way, 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 way too low. But I think Minnesota is probably the better side without question on the offensive side. And the FIU UTEP game, I know we like to mine for profits, but I don't think this is one we're going to get an opportunity. I think it's too many points there. FIU, every now and then they show up and play football. Will they here? That's not one I like to back. Both of these roles, I don't like to back in their prospective roles in this. I don't like back in FIU at all in most cases, and I definitely don't want to lay points with UTEP. So I'm going to be off of that side. So give me the over with you. I'll ride with you on the over, Ian. Iowa, Minnesota.
Oh, it must be on me.
Yeah, eight of
you,
9
Bob.
games where the total's been 33 or less have gone over the total. So that's the only reason I'm on that over with Iowa, Minnesota. But we'll see if it comes through. What do you think, boss?
First, I'd like the world to get rid of teams like Iowa who play such great defense that you want to back them, but not enough offense to even go near them. And I like PJ Fleck and what he's done over here in Minnesota, but I don't know if he gets past this defense right here. So I'm off that game. I like what you're saying with the total going over that, but we have to see if it's an ice bowl over there or too much snow. And we seen early on the week with Central Michigan, those games can be a struggle. But UTEP and FIU, just too many points. I do expect UTEP to try to win big at home, at the end of the season right here. But at the same time, not enough to them for me to back them right there. I believe they're 3-7 ATS. Not worth backing them right there. But then again, not worth taking FIU plus the points. So I'm off of that one as well.
All right, there we go. I'll move on now to the next couple of games here as we roll along here. I believe these are at 5 o'clock. Actually, all three of these are 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern start times. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Stanford, Cal, Arkansas State, Texas State. I laid it with North Carolina, and I don't normally lay 3 touchdowns with this team because we know their defense has been an issue, but their defense is getting a little bit better, and they might score on every possession against Georgia Tech. And it looks like Gibson, not Sims, is going to start at quarterback for Georgia Tech. And I'll tell you what, Gibson was rough last week in that game against Miami. He was absolutely awful. That one really could get away from Georgia Tech. So North Carolina, I'm going to lay it there with them in that game. A rare time where I'm taking the Tar Heels as favorite. Stanford, Cal, I like the over. I think the number's a little bit too short. Remember, Cal actually made an offensive coordinator change this week, and they're trying to be a little more explosive. So I think that total might be a little too low there at 45.5, 46, Stanford, Cal over. And I like Texas State laying the points against Arkansas State. I think Arkansas State is in a little bit of trouble. Texas State, when you look at where they are right now, they've been better at home. Arkansas State, terrible on the road, 0-5 straight up. Short number. I think Texas State can get it done. Conor Mac, what do you think of those 3 games?
Texas State, Arkansas State. I think that game can get over the total. I passed on Stanford, Cal. If Sims was in, even Gibson, there's just no way. North Carolina, I don't give a shit. When they're laying points like this, even 21.5, don't take it. So, but go ahead. Maybe here. Georgia Tech's been that bad, but there's no way I can. If Sims is in, I'll be on Georgia Tech.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, the North Carolina team, we've been saying it all year, 9-1, playing the AC championship. But how do we bet this with this high number? Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to score points. And how many points they're going to score? Probably 49 or so. So give me the team total over North Carolina in this spot. I think it's 42. Take that. Cal, Stanford, that's a 20s type of game. Lean under there. And Texas State or Ark State, they're a bad football team, but they do cover numbers. But I think the number's short enough here for Texas State, even though they're not going to go bowling. Either one of these teams are not going bowling. Maybe look to an over here and Texas State.
All right, there you go. Over in Tech. I agree with the over too in that Texas State game. Boss.
Only one I really like out of those 3 is the Texas State. It's a bum fight right here. Take the home team. They're -5. They have a 67% chance against a Arkansas State team who's been just lackadaisical at times. So I like Texas State right there. I've been off of UNC for so long. It's ridiculous. I just can't back a team that can't play defense. I don't know how they got to 9-1. It speaks a lot about the ACC. But Stanford and Cal battle of 2 teams that are both checked out. So I'm not really sure. I mean, overall, I would like the Cal team that we had the first, let's say, 5 games of the season or somewhere up in there. Then this one that been playing these last few games because they seem way checked out. But the Cal team that we seen earlier this season could actually play offense and defense. This Stanford team, you never know what you're going to get, even though you absolutely know what they're going to do. But you don't know what type of spirited game they're going to play, if they're going to actually come off and try to make some plays, or they're just going to be standby-ish. So I lean with Cal. But wouldn't lay the points with. I would have to go money line and put that in some exotic too. I couldn't really put no points between those two teams. They're both doing bad.
It's a battle of the Titans. You're right. North Carolina often doesn't play a lick of D. Georgia Tech hasn't played a lick of offense though recently either. So something's got to give there in that game between those two. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, and one more thing on that Texas State, Arkansas State. That's the Lane Hatcher Bowl, by the way.
That is, yeah.
Playing against his old team. So
Correct.
That's his last game at home, too. So take Texas State.
That's right. I think that's an excellent point. I think that's a great little situational bent and situational element there that's in Texas State's favor in that game. All right, the next two games, Marshall and Georgia Southern and Texas Tech, Iowa State. It's now gotten to the point where it's too many points for Marshall. I know their defense is really good. That's what's gotten them to 6-4. But boy, I'm telling you, the offense is still a work in progress. They actually did get going last week, finally, a little bit on offense. The quarterback for them, Fancher, was a little bit better. But I still don't trust this team laying these kind of points. Then Georgia Southern, I know it's kind of fallen on hard times, their defense the last couple weeks, giving up 38 to South Alabama, 36 to Lafayette, ULL. We'll see how they fare here. I just don't want to lay this many, so I lean to Georgia Southern. And then Texas Tech, I'm on Texas Tech, plus 3.5. Iowa State does have a good defense. They've probably gotten unlucky in some games, but their offense is not the kind of offense I say, yeah, let's lay 3.5 with them. Weather's going to be pretty cold there, it looks like, in Ames, Iowa tonight for this game. I think it's a tight game. Give me the Red Raiders, plus 3.5. I think Shuck actually is the best chance for Texas Tech at quarterback. He's come back. He's healthy again, and I think he gives them their best chance to win. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, I'm going to pass on Marshall, Georgia Southern. What's the other one? Boise, Wyoming?
Tech, Iowa State.
Tech, Iowa State. Yeah, I lean Tech. I don't know if I can get there. And I'm on Wyoming. I don't know if we're getting there. That's 405.
Yeah, that's coming up.
With it.
Yeah, okay. That's coming up, Boise and Wyoming, and I'm in agreement there. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, the Herd game. I'm not a big fan of laying points with the Herd. I know they play to a lot of under for Southern to kind of keep it close. I mean, the number shows that here, but I don't know. I'm probably going to pass either way. But I do like Texas Tech at Iowa State game. I think it's right for the pickings here. These are the type of games that Iowa State plays in these scrum games. These little 2.5, 3-point games, and I'd put them on upset alert here for Tech. This is a game that it falls right in their lap for them. So give me Tech on the money line.
All right, there you go. Texas Tech, not even just the points, but the money line as well for Big Ragoo here in this one. All right, boss.
In this Marshall game, Marshall's 2-8 to the under, and Georgia Southern's basically 5-5. I think we got a good shot at the under in that game at 53. So I lean with the under in Marshall. And then I'm with you guys on the Texas Tech. I mean, I just don't like taking Iowa State minus points. I only like Iowa State plus points. And they're playing against a Texas Tech team that can play any type of game you want. You want to play high scoring, they'll go high. You want to play defense, they'll play defense. So I like Texas Tech plus the points right there as well.
All right, next two games. These are also 7 p.m. Eastern. We've got Tennessee, South Carolina, Boise State, Wyoming. Tennessee, South Carolina. I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to bet? I'm going to bet full game over. I'm going to hope South Carolina does what Missouri did last week. Maybe sleepwalk Tennessee at times during this game. They catch him, and Rattler does something for a change, puts up some points against that defense, because Tennessee, I think, is going to hang 40s or 50s here against South Carolina. And they have the motivation to do that as well, because I think style points might matter a little bit for Tennessee. They're right on the edge. They're right on the cut line, if you will, of the college football playoff. So I like over the total there. Look, Wyoming doesn't look good statistically this year. I get it. But what the statistics don't show are the grit, the guts of this football team, Wyoming. They just battle in every single game. And I think they're getting too many points. And Craig Bohl is a home underdog at Laramie over his career with Wyoming's been incredible ATS. I know Boise's better with Talon Green at quarterback, Dirk Cutter on offensive coordinator. They've been better since those guys took over. But that's a lot of points to be laying against this scrappy Wyoming team on the road. I think the Cowboys hang in that game. Conor Mac, what do you think? Well, you already mentioned you like Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. Wyoming there. It's going to be cold. I know it's not a far trip for Boise, but yeah, I think that's a little crazy. A little too high right here on Boise. Wyoming at home, they get it done. I'm going to pass, I think, on the Tennessee, South Carolina. I just can't get there with South Carolina. I really want to take them at home, 21.5, but I don't know. And there should be points. It's just, will it get over that high total?
Exactly. That's the big question. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, this is with the Tennessee, they'll probably be the best team sitting home on the championship Saturday. You know what I mean? They lost that key loss at Georgia, but now they got, like you said, they got to hang by the seat of their pants. But they don't want to give anybody no reason for them not to be sitting home when college playoffs come. But I don't know, South Carolina, they're a tricky team, man. I'm with Conor. I kind of want to back them here in a way, but the key for them, if they'll be able to run the ball and keep points off the board for Tennessee. But we all know what Tennessee does really, really well here. But I don't know, it's a tricky spot. I'm going to lay off, but I'm going to be watching for sure. And then I'm with you on that Wyoming side for sure. I like Wyoming up in Laramie. Boyle, he gets the job done. They're like 1-6 ATS as Broncos against these guys overall the last 7, and the underdog is 6-1 the last 7 also. So that tells you a lot. But both teams are playing better for sure. The big changes up at Boise, and Wyoming scrappy as all get out. So I think it's a touchdown type of game. There's no way it's 2 scores.
They bet Boise State up to 14 there because Andrew Peasley, the quarterback for Wyoming, is out, but he wasn't that great to begin with. And it's not like this Clemens kid can't play well for them. He's very capable. He did all right last week, and they rely on Titus Swen anyway, the great running back at Wyoming for most of their offense. So to me, it's a little bit of an overreaction to Peasley being out. Peasley's not been lighting it up this year. What do you think here, boss? And we finally got some Mountain West action here for our guy,
right?
Boss. Yeah.
Hey, in the Tennessee game, everything kind of points to taking the over and maybe first half or full game, either or. But looks like there's going to be some points. I don't think Tennessee's defense is going to shut down South Carolina. I think they get the ball in the end zone as well. And on to Boise State, Wyoming in the Mountain West, where I do it the best. Just a few little tidbits right here. Wyoming 10-6 against the spread versus Boise since '92, but Boise is 15-1 straight up. And 10 out of the 14 games went under. But in this situation, I think this is an algorithm spot where the algorithm is totally wrong. You got this new quarterback. This is going to be the best defense that he's faced since he's been doing it. And if you look at his come up, he played San Diego State, where he was able to only do a naked bootleg to beat them. I mean, they had him locked in. His accuracy is not the best. A lot of he's 7-4, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But out of those 4 interceptions, like 3 of them were tip passes and stuff like that. So he can protect the ball a little bit, but his accuracy is not the best. Wyoming will dare you to pass and dare you to run. So they're going to have their hands full today with this Wyoming team. And you playing in Wyoming conditions. It's going to be cold. It's going to be late. It's going to be in Laramie. I mean, everything in this game, it's one of those ones that jumped off the page to me. Everything in this game points to taking those points with Wyoming. Wyoming's going to play. No need to try to pass the ball against Boise. If you're going to beat them, you got to beat that defensive line, and you got to beat them running the ball. So if Swin is able to get loose, then that's going to be great. You can't really count on Andrew Peasley. The quarterback at Wyoming, even when your guy over there at the Bills was there, you know what I'm saying?
Josh Allen,
yeah, it's always been, they just basically facilitate the
They're
ball.
Still balanced.
They like to run the ball. They don't really like to pass. They will when they have to. And then in college sports, given another guy who's been watching on the bench all this time, giving them a shot, sometimes you get great results from that. Sometimes it's just kind of slow. But overall, this game is going to be fought definitely in the trenches, and Wyoming packs a heavy defensive line and offensive line. Boise's defensive line has been doing a phenomenal job taking care of the run and all that kind of stuff. So I lean under with this one as well. So I'm going under, and I'm going Wyoming plus the 14.
All right, next up here, we've got 3 games at 7:30. We've got Ole Miss, Arkansas, New Mexico State, Missouri, and we've got the Battle of Bedlam, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. I'm passing New Mexico State, Missouri. It's too many. I'd take Missouri, honestly, before New Mexico State, but I'm not going to lay that many. Ole Miss, Arkansas, I like the over there. I think the problem is the total's gone all the way up to 67 now. It's a huge move, but I agree. I think especially with Jefferson playing now for Arkansas, I think you see points. I leaned at Arkansas a little bit too, as well as a home dog in that game. And Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Spencer Sanders, that's the big question. Is he going to play? There are people close to Oklahoma State that say he is. It just hasn't been public knowledge yet. So I'm going to assume he's going to play. And if he does, I'm going to look at plus the points with Oklahoma State. I love Gundy as a dog. I'm not laying points with this bad, horrendous Oklahoma defense. There's no way, no how I'm doing that. So I would like Oklahoma State anyway in this game, even if we got issues with Sanders playing or not. I like the over too, especially if Sanders plays in that game. Conor Mac, what do you think of those 3?
Yeah, I'm going to pass on New Mexico State. If I had a little bit more, maybe I could take them, but I'm not. You're right. I think Sanders is a go as well. I don't think he misses this game after coming in last week. So yeah, you got to take them. And with Jefferson in, I think this is a good football game. I lean Arkansas. Obviously just take a money line. It should be a shootout.
All right, big Ragoo.
Hey, Mizzou, New Mexico. How about Jerry Kill winning 4 of the last 5? Huh?
Yeah,
that's a ton of points to be catching, but they could easily get to the 30-31 to make it happen. But I'm going to pass on that one. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. I'm with you, Ian. I like Gundy getting the points. I think it's too many. Put them on upset alert too. They could very well steal the game from Oklahoma.
Yeah, take the money line too.
Yeah, take it. If you're going to back Oklahoma State, take them on the money line. I think they get there. Definitely with the points. I like that play. My only concern with the Arkansas Ole Miss game, it feels real trappy with the number if you're going to back Ole Miss here, and that's because of KJ Jefferson. So if he's healthy and he's a go and he's on his game, that game flies over the total without question. And then you got to back him as a home dog too. So that's my only pause is how healthy is KJ Jefferson in this spot here. So I'm going to sit on the sidelines for this game.
All right, boss.
Well, in the New Mexico State, that's a total pass. In the Mississippi and Arkansas game, I'm going to go contrarian right here, and I'm going to take the under since the line has been inflated so high. I'm going to take the under. Arkansas is still a run-first team.
Yep.
And Ole Miss, I heard Lane Kiffin don't like the cold too much. He's going to want to get in there and get out of there as fast as possible. So I'm going to lean on the under with that one. And Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, I mean, I like Oklahoma State, in the dog spot right here with the points, but I'm not going to get to the window with it because the thing about what's been going on over here at Oklahoma is improvement. And they've been trying to improve late in the season. And with a coach like theirs, I wouldn't put it away from him. I mean, he was one of the top paid assistants for a long time. He's kind of mixing up his spices and the stuff right here. So we don't know what we're going to get, but it's been a rival for years. It's come down to field goals, overtime, and all that stuff right there. So I like the over in that game, and I also like Oklahoma State plus the points.
All right, there we go. Excellent. All right, the next 3 games coming up next, we've got some good ones here. USC, UCLA, Syracuse, Wake Forest, UAB, LSU. First of all, USC, UCLA. I'm going to take the Bruins here. I've talked myself into the Bruins. They're 6-1 at home. I know everyone's jumping ship after the bad loss to Arizona last week, but hey, they got a chance to spoil the Trojan season here. That's going to be motivation enough. Remember, they're back home. They're at home now again. They had some of their best games and their biggest games at home. Utah, Washington, they played well in both of those games at home. I kind of lean UCLA. I like the over, even at 75, 76. I think there's a lot of points there. Syracuse, Wake, I ain't backing Syracuse. I can't with the way they've fallen apart here in recent weeks, although it does appear that there is a chance we see Schrader at quarterback here today. He's questionable. If not, it'll be Del Rio Wilson for Syracuse. So if Schrader's in, I like the over. If he's out, I like Wake. That's the way I'm going to be looking to play that game. And then the third game there, which is UAB LSU. UAB does not fare well when they play these step-up games. They got crushed in all of their games where they played Power 5 competition. That's my concern, but at the same time, a lot of points to be laying with LSU with nothing to play for. So I'm passing on UAB, LSU. Conor Mac, what do you think of those three?
Yeah, these are pass. LSU wins, and we talked about on Monday, they beat up these teams, but I'm not going to lay it there. I can't take Wake, not the way they've been playing lately. And Syracuse is just on a whole nother, I don't know what's going on there. The Schrader plays the other day, that last game, he did nothing. He looks hurt. What was that last one?
UAB, LSU, USC, UCLA.
No, SC.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get to the window. I lean UCLA as well. I think there's fireworks. Just watch that one. Get your popcorn. There's going to be touchdowns everywhere.
That feels like 45-42 somebody in that USC-UCLA game. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Hey, I flipped the page. Remember I was telling you about Charlotte being the best over? This is a dead tie with Charlotte. This game flies. Like make a couple bags of popcorn because you're going to need it for this one. But and I lean UCLA also to sneak it out. You know, bad loss from last week. Hey, this is what they do in the Pac-12. You know, it changes week to week with these teams. Who's the king of the Pac-12? And now, you know, we're talking UCLA. Now USC is the king now. So we'll see. But I think UCLA could hang with them and score a ton of points. And without Schrader, you know, as potent as Wake's offense has been, they played to quite a few unders this season, sneaky unders, and so has the Syracuse. So I lean under the total, especially without Schrader. If he goes, then I still lean under. How's that? And LSU, they win by margin. One loss too many. That FSU loss really hurt them early in the season. You know, they'd be looking at a possibility of getting to the West Championship game, but not so much now. But I still like LSU in this spot. Not a big motivational game, like you said, but I think it's I think UAB, when they step up to these bigger teams, they become very challenged here. So I would lean LSU. I'd split that first half full game LSU over in the UCLA USC game, pass on, or take the under in the Wake Forest game.
All right, under in the Wake Forest game. All right, boss.
Yeah, I would take the under or pass in the Wake Forest as well. Just too many points up there. And LSU, shout out to Brian Kelly, man. I hope it's one of those ones where he can let his guys loose a little bit, and they overclass UAB by far. Come on, let's not play games here. And I think he should be able to get the win in the cover, just to show it look good at the end of the season, because he doesn't know how far he's going to go depending on what happens. But I like LSU in that spot. And USC, UCLA. The quarterback over at UCLA, he ran a number on USC last year, and the defense hasn't really gotten any better than last year. So I think that it's probably going to be senior night for him right there, and I think that he's going to let loose on them. So I like UCLA to beat USC as well.
All right, we got three more games on tap next up here. Colorado, Washington, Colorado State Air Force, San Jose State, Utah State. Look, that's a lot of points to be laying with Washington, but I do not think Colorado is backable. It's simple as that. So Washington are pass for me, even laying 30.5. Colorado State Air Force is a pass. I mean, Air Force are nothing, but it's a few too many. I don't bet against Air Force at home. The game that I like the most is San Jose State, Utah State. I think Utah State wins that game at home. They're going to have their quarterback. Legas is going to play. You notice San Jose State, they're not playing well. They got drilled by San Diego State last week, and they have not been the same team since the tragic death of that player on that team. They have not been mentally there, Spartans. That's definitely impacted them, in my opinion. I think Utah State beats them at home. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, pass. Washington. Yeah, I can't even talk about that game. Air Force, I think they take it to them. I think they can even cover these 3 touchdowns. Maybe look at their team total. And what's the last one here?
The last one.
These 3 games, you're fucking with me. I can't.
Colorado State Air Force and Colorado Washington.
Utah State. You're right. Yeah. San Jose has not been good as of late, and they got pounded last week. I think Utah State gets it done as well. I like it there. I'd take the over as well.
Wow. That's surprising.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. All right, Big Ragoo.
I'll pick off where Conor talked about the San Jose State. I like the under in that game. I think both teams have played to the under all season. And I know when there's a bum fight, it usually goes the other way. But I think Yeah, I would lean the Utah State side, and I like the under. I think the game gets in the 40s, not the 50s, and I'm going to stick with what I've been doing all season with Air Force, especially against Colorado State. Give me Air Force in the first quarter to run it up. It's probably 10 points. I don't know what it is. I got to go back and look. Well, no, it's 21.5, so it's probably a touchdown. So maybe 4-7. They'll be up by a touchdown in the first quarter. Trust me, in that game, they get that job. They get the job done there, and then Washington, I'm off of that game totally.
It's on me.
Boss.
For me, Washington, Colorado been checked out a couple weeks ago. But is that warrant enough to take 31 with Washington? I don't think so. But, I mean, Washington could use some style points just in case UCLA beats USC and Oregon loses again. They'll all be up there kind of tied. So, I mean, if you feel like laying that many points with Washington, I don't see no reason why not to. I love to take Air Force. I like them full game, but the hook on the 21 is just ridiculous. I think I'd rather go for first quarter and first half with Air Force. I think Colorado State, they really got something coming to them this time. This is going to be senior night right here for Air Force. Hazik Daniel, third-year senior over here. I think he's going to go out with a bang. I hope if the offense can play with a little bit of enthusiasm, they'll run it up and win by 30 or 40. But let's hope Hazik Daniels get some plays to the outside, get to throw the ball a little bit, and show a little bit of his senior class right there, and get me a win in the first quarter and the first half. And I like I've been really looking this game too much to kind of now, and yeah, I like Utah State too over San Jose State. Both teams have been playing horrible this year, but they speak of Utah State. They speak of, because there was a lot of commotion with some stuff going on with Blake Anderson that been carrying over in the background, but they're saying that they're glad that all that is settled down and they can start playing football at Utah State. They started last week with the win, so I think this week they're going to go ahead and continue that. They may just mop this San Jose State. They don't travel well anyway, so they may just mop this team up. They're 1-3 on the road, so Utah State, I think I'll make that a play now.
I like Utah State, and playing for bowl eligibility as well. Utah State, they become bowl eligible with lots to play for. You're right. It looks like they've ironed out their issues. They were really bad early in the season, disappointing, but they've started to right the ship, and San Jose State's going in the other direction. I think mentally that's fucked with their head. The death of their teammate, that really has, because you basically can trace the struggles of San Jose State back to that moment when that happened, and they just haven't played good football since then. And it's hard to argue with that, because when something like that happens, it's tough to handle it. All right, the last three games of this slate, they're all late night West Coast 10:30 Eastern kickoffs. Fresno, Nevada, UNLV, Hawaii, and a big one in the Pac-12, Utah and Oregon in these three games. Fresno, Nevada, I ain't back in Nevada. It's a lot of points to be laying with Fresno, though. That offense could score on every possession. I mean, Nevada just gave up 41 to Boise last week, 41-3. I mean, this is a Fresno team total over, or Fresno laying the points for me. That is, especially with Jake Haener back on offense. Utah, Oregon. How healthy is Bo Nix? Bo Nix got banged up. Not only did they lose to Washington last week, Bo Nix was a little bit hurt. I think he's going to play, but there are some concerns out there about whether he's got his full mobility, if he's 100% healthy, but he's going to play in this game. I don't know. I don't trust Utah on the road. Every time Utah plays on the road this year, the best competition, they haven't gotten it done. They didn't get it done against Florida. They didn't get it done against UCLA. Now they got to go on the road against Oregon. I'd actually lean Oregon, but I just don't want to bet against Utah and Whittingham. I like that team and that coach so much, but I would actually lean to Oregon. I like the over there in that game. There's probably points. And then UNLV, Hawaii. Give me Hawaii, home dog. They've covered 5 straight at home under Timmy Chang, this Hawaii team. I know UNLV needs one win for bowl eligibility in their last 2 games against Hawaii, or both games they got to win, I should say, against Hawaii and Nevada to end the season, but doesn't mean they have to win by margin. I think Hawaii competitive in that game. We'll start with you, boss, on this one. Since there's 2 Mountain West games, what do you like there, plus Utah, Oregon?
Well, the Mountain West is in shambles this year. It's not, it's one of my favorite conferences, but there's no clear top and bottom. It's just a whole bunch of
Mediocrity
novice going on.
Yep.
Yeah. So Fresno and Nevada, I don't trust. I mean, I like Hainer, but I don't trust him with that many points, and I don't trust Nevada to lock it down. It's right there. So that's just a funny spot to me. You may have a little something with the over. Maybe the line is a little too low because Fresno will put up some points, but Nevada, they could put up some points here and there as well and get that over that number right there. And UNLV and Hawaii, I kind of lean with UNLV. I don't like the hook on the 10 now, but UNLV, this would be a chance for them to play like they played at the beginning of the season. The last couple games they had to play, opponents was a little bit tough, but we got Broomfield coming back on this spot right here. He might get loose today, and Hawaii won't know what to do. Hawaii becomes a deer in the headlights after teams get so far. But at the same time, too, Tommy Chan, he's going to be there next year, so they could be looking forward to try to gain strength into next year. But this UNLV team, I say that they can get a little turnaround on their season. Like you said, bowl eligible, and I think they might be fired up to come play in Hawaii. Might be a good look for them. But I don't know how they do it with the scheduling, but this Utah and Oregon game both matched up. I kind of like Utah more than Oregon, but Oregon has been real beastie once they get a lead against some teams, and Utah not so much. If they get behind, they kind of struggle to stay afloat. So that's going to be a pass for me too. So
all right,
wind on those three.
All right, wind on the island apparently for that UNLV Hawaii game. So make sure you're aware of that. 20 to 25 miles per hour, which also explains why the total's gone down to 56.5 in that UNLV Hawaii game. All right, Big Ragoo, what do you think of the last three games on the board?
I'll back it up. We'll start with the Hawaii game. Both teams, you made money if you back them all year long. 7-4, both teams, or 7-3 with UNLV. But it is a spot play for Hawaii. Even though like Boss was saying, you were saying, bowl eligibility on the line for them. I think they win, but they don't cover. I think it's too many points. And then the Oregon-Utah game, this was the game they were setting up for the championship game, I think, possibly. They're both still, top 10, top 12. But I would have to lean Oregon at home. Utah away from Provo is a little different squad altogether. So give me Oregon there, and then Nevada and Fresno, man, that's a shit show all the way around. You spread it around, it's a lot of points to be laying, but Nevada, they're horrible. So I would lean under, if anything, but the game can go over. So I don't have a look either way, but lean under there. So I like the side I like best out of those three is probably taking Hawaii and the points at home. And then Oregon, maybe I lean Oregon.
There you go. Excellent. There you go. That's the Saturday card. I flashed the comment up on the screen. Dabby Cabs live stream TCU Baylor. College football, noon Eastern, coming up right after us. Make sure you jump in there and join Dabby Cab and crew for live betting stream. TCU Baylor right after our show. Hit the like button, 284 live viewers. We appreciate it. Best bets to wrap up the show after we hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, and manscaped.com. Promo code PUBSPORT, 20% off your purchase. Lawnmower 4.0 or any Manscaped product, 20% off with promo code PUBSPORTS. UFC live stream later today as well. There's a UFC card tonight. So lots going on Pub Sports Radio. What's going on right now is Best Bets for College Football Pub Up. It was a great show, and it's just great to have the foursome back together again this week. Big Ragoo, let's go to you. What do you like for Best Bet today? Up, you're muted. You're muted, my friend.
Let's start over. South Alabama Jags laying the half a point in the first quarter. Southern Miss doesn't score. They get on the board. Minus 120.
There you go. First quarter look for South Alabama. The Jaguars. The Jaguars against Southern Miss first quarter. Best bet for Big Ragoo. Boss, best bet.
Well, at the beginning of the show, I was going to go best bet with Wyoming plus the points. But after taking a look at that Utah State, it kind of jumps off the page, especially at almost a pick 'em now. Give me Utah State for the win.
All right, Utah State. I like that bet too. It's actually one of my favorite sides today. Utah State money line against San Jose State. Best bet for DJ, Big Boss, and Boss. From all of us, it's great to have you back. Great to see you doing much better. Love to see it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, good to have you back. My best bet here for this Saturday, college football card. Lots to choose from. I'm going to go with the game that's just about to get underway. I don't do many early best bets, but I'm going to do one. It's get it in quickly. Duke plus 7 against Pitt. I like Duke quite a bit today. I think that's just too many points for Pitt to be laying. Duke's just been terrific in the underdog role. Duke plus the points against Pitt. That's going to be my best bet for this Saturday card. That'll wrap it up. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it. And if you want more college football, tune into the live bet stream, TCU Baylor with our guy Dabby Cab right now here on Pub Sports Radio. We've lost Conor Mac, I guess connection issues, but whatever the case may be, Conor, maybe we'll get him to post his best bet on Twitter when he's back up and running. But great show as always. Hit the like button on the way out for Conor Mac, even though he's disappeared on us. Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you again next Saturday right here, 10 a.m. Eastern time for another edition of the College Football Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio.
Welcome to another edition of the Barking Dead.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of EPL on Pub.
Class is in session, hitting the books on Pub Sports.
This is another exciting edition of the main event on Talking And.